What is your earliest memory? Usually 6 AM. Nice. Bro. I'm laughing my butt off right now. Exclamation mark. Of all the meaningful replies you got on this question, my stupid answer is the one with the most upvotes. My mother falling through the deck. I was 3. We lived in a pretty ramshackle apartment in Boston. She was hanging laundry. The deck was surely just rotted. It was scary because we were 3 stories up. Just her leg went through. She was okay. Just a bit cut up. That was lucky. Deck failures can be deadly. When I visited my aunt who lived in another province, she had a pet ferret and I remember thinking, what a funny looking dog. Ah yes, the good old noodle dog. I like this. Simple but effective. My sister and I were in the bathtub and were listening to our parents fight. My sister looks at me and says dad's not going to come back this time, and he didn't. I was around 3. Did everything turn out okay? After a while, he did a lot to inconvenience us after he left. Stole my mom's car. Tried to get her fired. A bunch of fucked up shit. One day it just stopped. Maybe he died. Maybe he went to jail. Maybe he just decided to stop. I don't know. Doesn't really matter now. Day of my 4th birthday. It was after the presents. I had a yellow and red airplane in my hands. I was going to go play with a friend at a playhouse later. I was looking out of the window with my mother at cars going by. I miss being 4. The world was so exciting back then. Airplanes were new to us, as we were new to the world. Cars were fascinating. Our innocent minds. And watching these corny cartoons, haha. 3 to 6 are the best years ever. Was at a lake at 3 and ran to a flock of white geese. They chased me away and I ran for my life. Dad said wave your cowboy hat at them and show 'em who's boss. So I did, and they feared me lol. That's true power. Geese are fearless. I do not like the cobra chicken. The fire department coming to our house because my sister got a pot stuck on her head. Trying to eat peanut butter in the mousetrap behind the washer in the garage. I was probably 2 or 3 at the time. Did you get hurt? Not from the mousetrap, but I remember tripping up the stairs from the garage to the house. I couldn't reach the mousetrap. I've always extremely vaguely remembered going to a boxing match with my family. All I remember was seeing the ring lit up super far away and a big screen up top. When I asked my parents if I had ever been to one, they said that they took me to one when I was just a year old. Me being 4 and my parents forcing me to play with my 2-year-old sister. Had her relatable. Minus the fact that I'm the youngest, but being forced to play with siblings. Lol, I remember when I was like 4 or 5 being at my aunt's house and my older cousin being forced to play with me with her dollhouse. Neither of us wanted to play with it. We both knew it, and we just sort of went through the motions for a while until we were allowed to go back to doing what we actually each wanted to be doing. Me, coloring. Her, walking on the treadmill. It was raining outside, otherwise we would have been outdoors playing together. Standing at my bedroom window watching my father go off on the tractor to get machinery on another farm and wondering when I would finally be able to go with him. I'm not sure which was first, but my only 2 super early memories are 1. My Etch-a-Sketch falling down the stairs, and 2. Finding my blue and yellow tricycle in a bush after another kid stole it, I think. Close bracket. Apparently caring about toys is a big thing for me. Oh shit. You just reignited a memory of mine. Back when I lived in Carolina, I was playing with friends at a daycare, and we were playing tag around a bunch of those inflatable and plastic forts you could get. And we then changed the rules. Tag with Nerf guns. Everyone is it, but shot once and you're out. We called it tag, but TBH it was just a Nerf battle, haha. I don't know why, but reading finding my blue and yellow tricycle in a bush after another kid stole it, I think, ignited that memory. Anyways, thanks for helping me remember. That was a good memory of mine. Don't have many back then, but still had more than I do now. May just be the fact of being a depressed teen though. IDK, haha. Receiving a stuffed dog from my grandmother when I was about 2 or 3 years old. I still have the dog and sleep with it sometimes even though I'm 19. I still have my birth bear. His name is Boswell. I'm 35. My dog's name is Woofy. sitting on my grandpa's lap and licking the salt off the radishes he was eating. He grew up on a farm and he used to just eat them raw. He used to call me Beaver because I would chew on my grandparents' wooden furniture when I was teething. I miss them both so much. The night before my brother's birth, I don't remember much, but I remember my grandparents coming to my house to watch me and going to the hospital after he was born. And it was at that moment my whole life changed, for the better. He might be an angsty teen sometimes and very annoying, but it'd do anything for him. And then there's me, who saw my brother and immediately began wailing and banging my fists on the ground, apparently. My little sister shitting in the bath while me and our older sister were in it. Aka a bath bomb. Fucking gross laugh. Getting hit by a car on my 5th birthday. I can't remember anything before it. Probably got some brain damage. But I'm cool now. Lol. Sitting at my kitchen table with my dad and grandfather eating bagels when I was about 3 years old. I have a very bad memory, so I don't remember much from my early years. But my first memory I think is from 9/11. I was only 5 and didn't live in the US, so didn't know much or understand what was happening. But I distinctly remember coming back to my grandma's, sitting in the bed in front of the TV, and just watching the news and what was happening. The images of the towers and so on. I couldn't fathom the tremendous importance of the event and the devastation it was causing. But I sure knew I was being witness to something major, and that's probably why it stuck with me. I'm jumping from square to square on a sidewalk when a big red-headed stranger called my name and told me she was my grandma. I remember telling "You're not my grandma" and running back to my grandparents. Turns out it was my father's parents. A bit later my father was wheeled out with 2 broken legs. I was 3. Being completely honest, apparently, being born. I asked my dad when I came into adulthood why I remember looking up at a clown with very bright lights behind them. When was this? Who was that? He about shit himself. I was born October 30th. The staff was dressed for Halloween during my delivery. Doctor was a clown. I gotta ask, do you have a fear of clowns or anything now, cause it sounded like it really stuck to ya? Not at all. Clowns are just humans in uniform to me. Maybe that's why I don't. IDK. Never thought man clowns are creepy, it's always been man. Clowns are people in makeup. Reading a book to my little sister with plastic glasses you get from a Mr. Potato Head toy on my face. I ate sprinkles and soy sauce when I was 3 years old. The day my sister was born, I was 3. She grabbed my finger with her whole hand. I'll never forget it. I remember sitting on a couch in a room in my Fiat PJs. I was so little my feet didn't even stick over the edge of the cushions. I remember the paneling, lights and the pool table. I've described the entire scene to my mother and she said holy shit, you were only about 18 months old because I was pregnant with my younger sister. We were making you do tricks and read random magazines. I'll be 40 in 2 weeks and can still picture the place. Getting picked up from daycare by my granddad. Good times. I have a single mental image from when I was 2. I was inside an ambulance, got an alarmingly high fever, and went in and out of consciousness. It wasn't anything major apparently. It's between getting yelled at and trying my first Pepsi in my baby bottle. I remember my cousins trying to teach me how to pee in the toilet and having to step up on something because I wasn't tall enough. I also remember hating wearing diapers. I think my parents didn't change me enough because I distinctively remember how uncomfortable and painful it could get. I also remember how upset I was when I could no longer fit in the bouncy thing that hung on the door frame, but my baby brother could. I thought my parents were being mean and didn't understand that I was just too big at that point. I'm guessing I was between 1 to 2 years old. I always thought this was a dream, but my dad confirms it's true. So I remember it was nighttime and I was sleeping. My mother picked me up and I remember being held in her arms as she walked very fast. I remember bumps and heavy breathing, similar to someone running down the stairs. I remember my father's voice. I couldn't understand what he was saying. They were just noise. I remember loud booms everywhere. Then I remember being in a small space, still held by my mom. I remember my mom opening the door every once in a while and screaming. I remember rumbles and shakes, as if I was standing beside a huge B-Bud speaker. My dad filled in the gaps a few years back when I asked him if that memory was real. He aged yeah. I was 2. And our city was being bombed. My mother got me from my crib. She carried me down our stairs in our house. And the little small room was a bomb shelter in our house. My father was trying to tape all of the windows so that GL butt wouldn't get everywhere. And my mom kept opening the door to yell at him to forget the windows and to get in the shelter. I think when I crawled to get my sippy bottle from the fridge and showed it to my mom, cause I was proud of myself. I was 2. Got Candyland for my 3rd birthday. I think I have an earlier memory of being asleep in the car when my folks moved from the East Coast to the Midwest. But all I really have of that one is blocks of red, presumably the sun in my face. Earliest full-fledged memory that I remember everything about was sadly the ending to the dog episode, Jurassic Park, of Futurama. I remember it being on TV and watching it cause it was a cartoon. The end really stuck with me as a kid. I was 5. I remember basic stuff like my favorite stuffed animal when I was a kid, but that's the one I can remember. Everything from the kind of TV I watched it on, how the weather was, what I was eating, etc. Falling down the stairs. I remember seeing the light from the window at the bottom getting closer and closer, and then looking up to see my mom looking down terrified. We were in our way to church, and she had one of those old pantsuits with padded shoulders on. I was walking home with my neighbor on my first day of kindergarten. She was older and asked how my day went. I said I met and told her about my new best friend. Warm memory because I'm still friends with both of them. Nag's Head, NC, in 1967, before it got so built up and commercialized. During a gale, my family had rented a little old house that creaked a lot in the howling wind. I was scared till my aunt explained that the house had been built sturdy to not fall over in storms. I was a bit older than 2 at the time. That house was still standing in 1980. Me operating a DVD player when I was 3 years old to watch Lion King on my mum's lap as we play Spyro the Dragon. Hiding under the table and crying at my own birthday cause I was scared of the fire on my cake. This went on several years. I think I was about 8 before I blew out my own candles. Still not a fan of fire. It's summertime and I'd find something in the backyard. It's all bumpy and weird looking. And oh, it's really jumpy. I gotta catch it again. My mom tells me from the kitchen window it's a toad and to put it down or I'll get warts. I don't. And I continue to look at this strange creature until I'm certain I figured out all of its mysteries. My mom comes out to bring me back inside, but before she picks me up, I quickly hide my new friend under the leaves of some plants that were by the back porch. A few hours go by, but all I'm thinking and talking about is the toad. After dinner, bedtime followed, and I don't know how long I waited, or if I fell asleep and then woke up, but I eventually climbed out of my crib. I was mischievous as heck and climbed onto a lot of stuff when I was really little. I definitely remember climbing on top of the refrigerator all the time. I knew I wasn't big enough to reach the door without making a lot of noise, so I took a chair from the kitchen table and climbed up, unlocked the door and went outside. It's the middle of the night, but I go to the spot where I hid the toad and feel around in the dirt and plants and found him again. I was so happy to have found him again. And this one is easily in top 10 best memories for me. My mom tells me she woke up and had the weirdest feeling that something was wrong. And when she noticed I was not in bed, she almost fainted when she saw the chair against the back door. She was really upset with me, but also really relieved. That day, I learned what toads were, how to exit the back entrance of my house freely, and how to give my mother a heart attack. I wish there was a machine that could pinpoint my exact first memory cause I don't know. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.